There we go. Hopefully that's better. You can hear me now. Uh, I probably should load up on coffee and do an AV check before I start streaming. But hey, that's what keeps it real and authentic. Um, want to give you all a heads up. Let's see if I can find it. Challenge. All right, couple things. One thing I want to show you is what's this? Oh yeah, I'm getting notifications everywhere telling me that I'm live now. Who knew? My name is Frank Lavinia, and you can check me out at the following URLs: franksworld.com, Data Driven, and Impact Quantum. And today is Pi Day, which means, well, it's 3/14. At least if you go on the American style of date registration. And if you hear dogs wrestling in the background, that's because I've got three of the little hounds with me today in my home office. And hope that you're doing well and you're enjoying your Pi Day. Pi Day is really one of those things where I think if you use the other way, I think 22/7, so the 22nd of July is also a Pi Day for the folks, I guess, in Europe. But if you're in the US, you use the US date. This is 3/14, which obviously is pi. Pi obviously being a cornerstone of mathematics and engineering. It's a good way to get the kids interested in science and technology, right? Which is something that I think is sorely lacking. Even when I was growing up, I assure you I was not encouraged to get into science and technology. With by society, I would say my parents. I have to thank them for that. Basically, telling me that I had um, basically doctor, lawyer, engineer was in my future. Uh, so all of those apparently rely on math, as it were. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Frank Diggs Data. And you can, today, I want to talk about, because it is Monday, it is Pi Day. I want to talk about Humble Bundle. Now, I don't make any money off this. I just like what Humble Bundle does. They take, there's a lot of games in there, and that's one of the dogs barking. But they also basically make technology books affordable. They are ebooks, and for $20, you get a stack of like 30, 40 books. I find that to make it much more accessible to folks. So let's share my screen, and I can show you what deals they got today. All right. So what you see here is um, all the bundles right now. I have software selected. So primarily Humble Bundle is their real shtick is games, right? Like that's kind of like the thing if you go to the website. But you'll notice that they have bundles and categories as books, software, and games. Now some of this stuff is new, and I like checking the site on Monday to figure out what's new. Now in a previous stream, I did talk about how awesome this Python deal was, and I did pick it up. Um, and Joy of Coding looks pretty good. So you have some time left. And basically, how this works is you can actually, this is pretty cool, get certification. And you all know how I am about certification. I've got quite a bunch. This is pretty interesting, actually. So basically, what you do is you pick, so for $18, you get 21 books. For $10, you get 13 books, and for $1, you get 6 books. So really, depending on actually, that could be a useful book. So basically, depending on what you want to do and with your career and your life, you can check this out. They also have, I noticed some interesting software going on here. So there's a UX fundamental course. These are all Pluralsight courses, which you can just buy access to those courses individually. For $25, you get access to those courses. This is interesting. This looks like Zenva Academy. You can learn how to do Photoshop, pixel art, polybrush, that sort of thing. But there was some pretty interesting, a couple things that got my attention here. So for those you don't know, I used to do some music creation type stuff. And this is looks like a lot of tools for that. How like make your own music and stuff like that. How much was that? I'm tempted to do this, but it's the here we go. $25 for 9 items. Looks like you get some video software and some sound producing stuff. Yeah, this is really what I was looking for. Acid Music Studio. I used to use that back in the day. That and Fruit Loops or Fruity Loops, whatever they call themselves, or FL Studio, because there were lawyers involved. Um, so this is cool. So if you wanted to create your own RPG game, role playing game development, there's all kinds of assets for it. Looks like audio, sprites, craft icons. Um, Pretty cool. And each one, if you see, will go to um, a particular charity, right? So this one goes to Code.org and American Cancer Society. Now, this is interesting. What is this? Uh, Low poly character assets. So you get all these zombies and stuff you can use in your Unity games. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's that's cool. So if you want to get into this, there's a spy kit too. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So if you want to create a spy game, there you go. And you can get started with these for $25, or I guess $1 really to get 3 things. So the spy kit's just $1. Maybe I will pick that up. It really comes down to just a matter of how much mental focus can I provide, how many, in which direction and things like that. But I think it's pretty cool, actually. So I always like to highlight that. I also like to highlight something else that started today. My good friend Noel Silver has created this build your brand 4 or 5 day challenge, and you can go to inclusioninspires.com/challenge. Big shout out to Noel, and you can do this, and she can kind of talk about this. It's free to join, I believe. I have to, yeah, I think it's free to join, and there's a pay track too. But that's pretty cool, actually. So check that out. I know that's going on. And today is Pi Day. Let's see. Do we have any Pi Day themed Canva stuff? There we go. Happy Pi Day. I think I'm going to post this to various social media and stuff like that. But you can see why I love Canva. Canva is just so quick to like get stuff going. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Today I actually for the first time in months got back shooting some arrows. I have a compound bow, and I find it very relaxing, very meditative. And in this crazy world that we live in, relaxation is definitely key to surviving it. And what are my dogs doing? What are you doing over there? So, so that's it. Go check out Humble Bundle. Maybe there's some stuff that you're interested in. Maybe you have some people and kids that you're interested in game development, that sort of thing. Lots of great stuff there. I did have another thing I was going to talk about, but my progress with Linux. So I still have this machine right here is running on Linux. Let me see if I can unplug it. I'm sure that'll make some of the drivers a little angry. I still have this device here running Linux, and I'm tempted to install Windows on it because I want to be able to do more creative stuff with it with the Adobe product suite. But that right now is one of the big blockers for that. But for the most part, I'm actually back on streaming on a Windows PC today, so you'll notice the background's a little different. If you haven't been paying close attention, which if you were paying close attention, I'd be a little worried. I actually got a new desk. It's not new; it's new to me. Some people are moving, and they had this beautiful kind of cherry oak desk, the type which I always wanted. And it has been a number of years since I bought a desk. My latest acquisition of a desk I bought would have been the standing desk I got at IKEA, which for the most part and for the price, the Weimer pup is chewing something. Hey, come here. Come here. What are you chewing? You want to be on camera? Come on. So this is the Weimer pup. Say hello. She has something to say. No? Okay, don't chew the wires, baby girl. Weimer puppies are quite special little creatures. And yeah, so the Linux experiment's still going well. I have been tempted, but so far I haven't because while I'm not traveling, while I'm sticking largely close to home, I don't really need to have Photoshop on a personal laptop. Um, so for that, but I don't know how much longer. Like, I mean, I'm definitely committed to. I'm gonna take it to Easter, and I think even beyond that, I'm gonna do dual boat because I want to get familiar with Windows. I mean, with Linux and kind of de-Windowsify kind of all my home infrastructure. Not because Windows is bad, just because I am very concerned about the 2024 or 2025 deadline of end of life support for Windows 10. That is my big irksome thing. So until that's fixed, I'm going to be driving very hard into the Linux side of things. Maybe even get a Mac. I do have a Mac here that I bought used, um, and it's 10 years old. It's not an M1, obviously, but it does it does the trick. It runs Apple Motion. Doesn't run the latest version of Apple Motion. So at some point, I'm going to investigate kind of taking the plunge and getting a Mac, which would be the first time I bought a Macintosh. Okay, well, I bought this like 2 years ago, but the previous time I bought a Macintosh would have been 1999. So it's been a while. And again, all this is driven by some of the decisions that I hope will be overturned or walked back by the Windows 11 team. Again, big time fan of Windows. I've been around every beta version of the platform since going back to Windows NT 351, which was I think it was Project Daytona. So for me to kind of I'm going to take a step back and wait is kind of a thing. I actually do have enough RAM on the Linux machine where I could see if I get my hands on an ISO and then kind of boot into a VM and kind of experiment with it, because I know a lot of folks have been complaining about the UI. They don't like it. There's but again, when Windows changes the UI, people will always complain. People now they hold up Windows XP as this wonderful version of an operating system. But I remember back in the day that there was a time when people called that the Fisher Price version of Windows. So people tend to get very protective of the UI. Um, I will check it out for myself, probably in a VM, assuming I can figure out how to get it to run in a VM, because there's no TPM chip in a VM that I'm aware of. I could be wrong. Also had some interesting success. Had dinner with some folks last weekend, not this previous weekend, but the weekend before, and managed to figure out all this cool stuff around get setting up your own Pixie boot server. Which, if you don't know what that is, I forget what it exactly means, but basically, when Microsoft, we had this, where if you were on campus or in an office, you'd plug in a new computer, and it would basically find a server online that had basically boot OS software. So you didn't have to carry around tons of USB sticks, or dare I say floppy disks or CD-ROMs, which I think that was a pretty cool setup. Apparently it's not that difficult to do. You could probably do it on a Raspberry Pi. And I also found utility because I have a lot of these hard drives around that just found in a bin somewhere that were installed with Windows to Go. Windows to Go, unfortunately, was a scrapped product, but for some reason, the hard drive or it wouldn't be readable. Something weird about the format of Windows to Go didn't make it readable. I think that was a security thing on other machines. So I found a tool called Rufus, and Rufus will see this and recognize it. Disk Manager did not. File Explorer did not, but Rufus did. And now I have usable disks. This one I think is the Ubuntu boot disk that I created. And this one is Susie, I believe. I should probably mark these down because I have at least 4 or 5 of these, like weirdly shaped and old USB sticks that I have. But it's pretty cool. I've been experimenting with different types of Linux so far. Mint, for the most part, has worked out the best in terms of replicating that kind of Windows desktop experience. I did like Fedora. There were some, um, well, all the machines, all the distros that I've tried so far have all had the same problem around that driver issue with the docking station, the display link. I even tried downloading there's a fix for it, but it doesn't seem to work with this. So again, not a deal breaker, but definitely it would be nice to have that. One nice surprise. Well, speaking of nice surprise, hello. One nice surprise, and it's not the Weimer pup kind of coming up. You want to say hello to the people? Hmm, there you go. So one nice surprise. Hello. Um, One nice surprise is that my Wacom tablet, not only is it supported in terms of drivers, but they're already pre-installed in the operating system, which I thought was cool. So one of the things I was like, well, maybe I should go back to Windows and because then I can get the Wacom tablet working. I plugged it in and it was already there in the operating system. Like there was already like a Wacom tablet setting. So kudos to whoever did that. Fedora had that too, which I thought was a nice surprise. And so that's one less thing to worry about. So you may see me do the next stream with a virtual whiteboard. Found an app for that. That'll be on my Linux box or my Linux laptop. So I think that's cool. What else? What else? That's all I got for today. It is Monday, Pi Day, so go have some pie and figure out the area and circumference of a circle. And be thankful for the advanced mathematics tools that we have, and maybe go study some math yourself. Speaking of which, there's some really cool courses on LinkedIn Learning I'm going to check out. With that, I will wish you all a great day. Happy Pi Day. And speaking of something round, here's a video of the Earth.